A leader has to take the risks.
Is that the famous Klaudia Kaye? Wow. Awesome. So excited. Fired up. You're on mute though. Yeah. That's the famous words of Zoom.
Right?
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah. So what's
Hi.
going on? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic. Unbelievable. So I heard, so I saw you were hanging out with the great Stan Lee. What was that? What was that all about?
Do you hear that?
No.
All of us have a lot to say right now.
Who was that?
Ali, be quiet over there. It's my toy multi-poo.
Okay.
Every time he hears a voice, he has something to say, but he'll be a good boy now.
Okay, all right.
Well, wow, we're starting off strong. Yes, I did. I had the most amazing opportunity to have worked alongside Stan Lee for a very short little time, and it was the biggest blessing in the world. I mean, to be near someone like that is a genius in the world of making movies. I mean, it was I'm still speechless when I think about it. So imagine how I was next to him. I tried to keep my composure and be all professional, but I was geeking out.
I think any of us would, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, we all love the Marvel movies and that whole universe. So
That's right.
All right. So you are you're in LA, right? You're in Hollywood,
LA.
right? So did you always live out there?
No, I came out here. It's been almost 10 years already. So that's a long time. I just did the math the other day. But no, just before that, I was in New York. And before that, I was in Canada, in Toronto. That's where I was brought up and went into the world of entertainment. That's where it started, out in Toronto. So that's the original home.
And did you always know? Were you just this little kid that was running around acting,
Yes.
being, a little bit crazy little girl that was just wanting to let everybody know you were there? I mean, was that you?
That was me. You nailed it.
Yeah. No, yeah,
I definitely had just this bundle of energy, and every time someone looked at me, it would be I would just go up to strangers in the middle of the street and be like, I like your shirt, I like your shoes. And I know these stories because my mom shared them with me later. I don't remember any of this, but yeah, she told me that I was just always I didn't have that fear to go up to somebody and just get to know them and give them compliments. And people would always look at me and say, are you an actress? And I was like, I don't know yet. But, I was little. And when I was 11 years old, that's when I said, you know what? I do want to be on stage. I have way too much energy to be, this is the only thing that makes sense. So let me take that energy and just put on a show.
I love it. So what was your first show? Like, what did you do?
Yeah,
what was the first thing you did?
Yeah, so when I was 11 years old was the first thing that I did. I went to the Living Arts Center in Mississauga, which is right outside of Toronto. And I played the lead in, I don't even remember what it was anymore. I played the lead in something, and all the parents came out, to support their kids. But it was at the Living Arts Center, and it was on stage, and it was the first thing. So it was exciting. It was exciting. And I remember that feeling. The only thing I remember from that is the feeling of just, I never felt more like myself, being able to just, be in this character, be out of myself and into this character, and entertain and make sure that the person in the last row could hear me. And God knows I'm loud, so it worked. And and all the parents, stood up and clapped, and I was like, this is fun. So the acting world, definitely in the beginning of the entertainment business, was something I was just fascinated with, for sure.
And so you go to New York. So was that a part of the journey? All right, let's go to New York. Let's try to do some stuff over there. Is that what happened?
That's what happened. I just packed a U-Haul. I said, I'm going to film school. And I just went to New York. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how I was going to figure it out, but I just said, there was, for some reason, it wasn't that I didn't love Toronto and everybody in it that I knew. It was just, I felt like there was, I was always fascinated with New York, and I mean, it's the most beautiful place in the world. So at least in my eyes. And and the minute I got to New York, I never felt more at home. So I knew that that was where I was supposed to be. And then I went to the New York Film Academy.
So you went to the Academy, and how long is that usually? What's that process? A couple years, a year, or what?
Yeah, so there's different programs at the New York Film Academy, but my journey, probably for another day, if we go into the very details of how that whole transition went. I was always just someone that was curious about the business on every capacity of it. I felt like acting was not just one part of it, but there's so many parts in the business that I was interested and curious about, from like the writing to the directing to being behind the camera and capturing that moment to, you know, seeing that lighting. Like everything was just fascinating. Movies, period, were just, since the beginning of days, I was in love with movies, and I still am. And until the day I die will be. It's just, it's the one thing you go to and you know it's always there. And no matter what you're going through in this world, you know that you can always go and escape and just unwind. And it doesn't matter, rich, poor, you know, whatever your ethnicity is, none of this matters. Everybody, at the end of the day, it's like the one universal language that at the end of the day really does connect everybody. And I feel like everybody's interested in it. I mean, maybe I know some musicians that are like, I don't watch movies. That's rare. You know, that's rare.
Most everybody watches movies.
Right.
By the way, I'm like, you know, I love movies, and and I've always been fascinated by movies, and I think it's an incredible way to you know, to express, and I love that. I love your passion for it, because you know what I always, I own a financial services company, and what I always tell my agents is that whatever you do in your life, you have to be passionate about it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Success comes after, you know, you got to see it in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
You gotta believe it. You got to really believe that it's possible. And then you got to take that massive action towards
right.
whatever it is that you love, you know.
And you won't take that action if you don't have that passion behind what you're doing. You know, you're gonna, it's never gonna, you're always gonna feel like something's missing if you're not doing what you love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's
all right. So you go to California. When did that happen? And what was that?
mm-hmm.
Why?
So I was in a,
because you said New York was the most beautiful place in the world. So why did you come to California?
It's also it was also the most expensive place in the world.
Okay, all right.
And I did a 1 year out of a 2 year. I was in a 1 year out of a 2 year master's program at the New York Film Academy. How I got in there is a whole other story, because I didn't have a film background. I just had acting background, and I took a bunch of different courses in university that I was interested in, compiled those together, went to New York, and I was in a BA program, which was just a 1 year filmmaking program at the New York Film Academy. And I wasn't happy in this class that I was in. So I just felt like I was with younger people, which at the time for me, that wasn't the point. It just, I connected with every single person that was in another class, and we were all working on projects together. We were all acting in each other's projects. We were all sleeping over at each other's houses. We became a family. And so one day I went to the dean of the New York Film Academy, Jerry, and I said, look, I don't come from money. I worked so hard to get into this school. I worked 3 jobs to be here. It's very expensive to be in this school. And I feel like if I'm paying this X amount of money to be here, then I want to choose which class I'm studying in. And I said, I want to study in the master's class with all the kids that are doing their master's in filmmaking. And he looked at me and he was like, I don't see why not. So I transferred over and I did a 1 out of the 2. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. And so I ended up making my first movie in a master's class with people that have already made, 8 to 10 different things. And I was just this like little newbie, but I love the challenge. That was exciting. I was like, let's go. And
so what does it cost to do something like that? I mean,
it was
what's
36,000 a semester.
per semester?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So
Bonkers.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could only do 1 year, and
Right.
and the second year was in LA. And unfortunately at the time I couldn't afford to do another year. So I ended up trying to figure it out. That's when I picked up my camera and I started shooting for my friends, for actors, for people that needed promo videos. And that's how I just started kind of just figuring things out. And that's when I fell in love with being behind the camera and capturing the moment, and the feedback was coming back, like people were happy. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm doing something right here. So that just stuck with me forever. And then the second year, everybody I knew went to LA, and then I was stuck in New York, and I just said, I can't. I got an opportunity actually through my skincare specialist, who I met at like a random, I think it was like Macy's or something. And we just like connected, some random woman. And that random woman is now like one of my best friends. I've known her for 12 years. And her husband is an Academy Award winning editor, out of all things. So we ended up connecting. I ended up coming out here. So that was really like my first friend that I knew out here. I didn't know anybody, like we were friends, but it wasn't like family friends. So it took a little bit of time to like curate all of these relationships once I got out here. But yeah, so that's kind of what brought me out here. It was like, maybe there will be a window of opportunity here for me to maybe work with someone like that. I was just trying to be open to whatever the energy was kind of pushing me towards. And that just made sense at that moment. So and knowing me, I just kind of go with the flow. I don't kind of go against energy. And that's why I just kind of picked up. And again, I moved here. I was like, this is where it all happens. This is where Hollywood is. This is where all the actors are, and who am I? Like at the time I was like, just a girl with a dream, just a girl.
And so what type of jobs were you working to just survive? I mean, when you're in
I worked
school,
humbling
and
jobs. Yeah.
what did you do? Like, what type of things did you do?
So when I started hustling when I was a little kid. So if I'm going to be transparent, then I'm going to be transparent, right? I was 12 years old. This is the cutest job, I think. I was 12 years old. That was my first real job. And I bought chocolate bars at a dollar store. And then I would go outside of a bank and I would sell 1 for $3 and 2 for $5. And I would stand there and nobody could tell me they don't have money, because I was right outside of a bank. And who's going to say no to a cute little girl that's hustling, selling chocolates, right? So that's how I started making money. I was making like $200 cash at a very young age. And I was like, I always had that like hustle mentality, and I was raised by a single mom. So I always wanted to like make her life easier and figure out ways how I can help. And so from a young age, I was just working and doing whatever I could to just, give back on any capacity. It wasn't a lot, but anything I could do. So that was the first job. And then I've worked humble jobs. Like I worked at a diner. I worked at this like 50s diner when I was like 16 till 19. It was great. You get paid cash. It was right in front of Massey Hall in Toronto. It was called Fran's. I got to give a shout out to the people that still work there. Amazing people. And I started meeting so many actors and musicians that were coming in. And I met John Leguizamo. He came in one day and I remember seeing him. And one of the servers, it was his section. So he didn't sit in my section. And I like ran up to the server and I was like, oh my God, it's John. I was so excited. And I was like, I want to serve him. Let me serve him. So my friend at the time, he said, yeah, okay, go. You can take that table. So anyways, I got to serve him his breakfast. you know, had a little conversation. And that was the first actor that I was like a little starstruck over. And he gave me 2 tickets to come see his one-man act. And I ended up taking my mom, and it was so cool. I remember I was so excited. I got to meet him, and he was so just, you know, and he came from humble roots too. So it was just nice to see someone that hit that type of fame that was still able to be so kind and humble and open to anybody. I really appreciated that about him. And that's something that stuck with me forever, because it doesn't matter who you are and what level of success you get to, you should never ever think you have the right to look down on somebody for any reason at all. You know, it's embarrassing. So you just gotta always remain humble and kind to all. You treat the garbage man the same way you're gonna treat the CEO of Paramount Pictures. That's the way I was raised, and that's the way I think it should be. That's the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
you're absolutely right on. And so did you have any, like, what was your break? I mean, what was your kind of,
I don't feel like I had my break yet at all.
Well, I mean, but what was that first big thing that you did, or what was that first thing that you did that you felt like, okay, I'm at least making progress and good things are happening for me, and you know, I'm moving forward, and it kind of kept you believing in the dream of Hollywood?
That's a great question. I think that just off the top of my head, the first break, well, I guess I got an agent. I signed with Norbert Abrams at Noble Kaplan Abrams in Toronto, Canada, just when I was graduating high school. And I was so excited because, you know, he was the best agent in the country. And I couldn't believe that I got signed with him, because, you know, I was just crying in my audition, and he was like, "You're good, kid." And I remember he said one thing. I'll get back to that, but I guess that was my first kind of little break, because I signed with like a really reputable agent, and I thought, okay, well, if he sees something in me, maybe there is something in me. And more than my teacher just giving me like an A+, right, for being loud and obnoxious as an actress growing up. Yeah, so I guess signing with him, and then I booked my first docucrime series, and I actually, was that the first one, or was that, no, it was a documentary crime. I played a paraplegic. I played the lead girlfriend in a documentary that MAD did, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They sponsored it, and it went out to all the high schools in North America, which was crazy at the time. I was like, oh my God, it's my face on screen. It was really weird to see. I can't watch it myself on screen. It's really weird. But I guess that's what it was. It was that documentary, and it was about kids drinking and driving, and then getting into a car accident, and then, you know, the aftermath of what happens when you drink and drive. And so I became a paraplegic, lost my boyfriend who died in the car accident, and it was like, yeah, it was a whole dramatic story. So I guess that was the first little thing that I was like, oh, cool, I booked a lead, you know.
And so when you think about Hollywood, well, right now, obviously the strike just got over, right? Is it completely over now, the strike?
Well, they did reach a tentative agreement. It's not long-term, it's a short-term agreement just for the next few years, but they did lock in
but everybody's back to work, though. Is that, I mean,
well, I mean, it's not like everyone all of a sudden, bam, back to, you know, it's not like everyone's in, you know. It does take a little bit of time, I think.
Well, nobody's ever all in anyway. So,
right.
You know,
that's right. You still got to go to the audition. You still got to
exactly.
You still got to pay for your self-tapes to get to that audition.
Yeah. So tell me, like, what is the life of an actress or an actor or somebody in the movie business? I mean, what does that life look like? Is it do you do one audition a week? Do you do 10 auditions a week? Do you do like, because a lot of people, I'm trying to get into like, what is it all about? You know, what does it actually look like?
Yeah.
Because people want to know that. Like, what's your life look like? I mean, how many auditions do you
every
go
day
on?
is different. Every day is
Okay.
different. So I guess that's the fun part about the business, is that
Mhm.
you get to go out, like if you're going to look at the glass half full, then you get to go out to all, there's all these different stories out there. And if you have an agent, then you're obviously just checking your email to see when your next audition is, which is ideal. That's what you want to achieve. And if you don't, then you're on Backstage, you're on different types of websites where you can find your own auditions and then go out there, because they do have open casting calls. You just got to do a little research. And then, yeah, you just go to an audition. And I think that's the part that I really didn't like about acting. That's why I wanted to expand into writing and producing, because just going out, and it wasn't the fact of going out to the audition and then getting rejected, going out, getting rejected. That wasn't the part that was the tough part. It was just the chances of you booking something are so small that if you're putting all your eggs into that one basket, it's just going to take a little bit more time, you know, unless you're like brought up in the industry and you're surrounded by those connections, then you might get lucky and someone might just, you know, throw you something, you know. Otherwise, you got to really go in there, go out there, you got to go audition, you got to keep going, you got to have another job while you're doing it. And that's why the strike happened. That's why it started, because the creatives don't have the opportunity to do what they love the most without having to have another job to be able to survive. So there needed to be a balance, a better balance. And I think that they're definitely on the road to achieving that.
So you think they did accomplish something? I mean, for you guys, like
Well,
what was the benefit? What came out of it that you think is like a positive thing that came out of it?
it's hard to see a positive right this moment, because I know a lot of friends that are going through a very difficult time right now. I know people who have lost their homes. I know people who have lost, you know, they haven't had work for 8 months. It's a long time. It's almost a year. So it's been a difficult time for a lot of actors, especially if you're not that 1%, right? So I think we're going to see the effects of what this strike has done in the next month or 2 or 3 or year. As of today, I can't say I feel like it was dragged on for so long, and greed always plays a factor in life, and that's the sad part, because everybody should have the opportunity to do what they love and make money doing it. So I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure. I don't have the right answer for that right now.
Well, I mean, I mean, what it comes down to, as far as what I know is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you know, these studios are making so much money, and there's so much, you know, and they're so profitable, but they're not sharing the fruits of the labor, and like they probably should be. And that to me is sad. I mean, you know, everybody, you know, knew that if you went to Hollywood, that you had the opportunity to make passive income, you know, and you had an opportunity to make residuals, and, you know, you do a great part and you could be getting paid on that thing forever. And that kind of started to go away. Is that a little bit of what happened too? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just, that was kind of some of the perception of what I saw, is that a lot of these studios weren't giving residuals like they used to, or they would, or it'd just be a one-off, you know, we're going to pay you for the series and that's it, you know?
I think it's tough because I'm on the producing side, right? It's coming out of our budgets, right? And from the streaming side to take care of everybody else. But when you think about it, an actor has one job, right? They're actors. A writer has one job, they're a writer. An editor has one job, they're an editor. A producer has 20 jobs. They are managing everything. They are managing the writers, the directors, the producers, the casting, the locations, the contracts, the list goes on. So they have the job of 10 people. Therefore, do they deserve a little bit more for the job of 10 people? But of course, because without them, there would be no movie, because they're the ones that are making it happen. They're the ones that are going out and getting that money to get that actor that job. So it's such like a fine line. I feel it on both sides, because again, like, the contracts had to change. They haven't changed in it was time for a change, right? So this needed to happen, and this is a great start. And I think that where we're at right now, it's a good start, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
So how is, I'm like, when you're looking at, because how long have you been in the industry? I mean, how long?
Well, it feels like forever behind the scenes. I've since I don't know, since the day does it count since the day you start acting, since the day you book something, since the day?
I guess you've been out in California. You've been out in Hollywood for how long now?
I've been out here for almost 10 years, and I started a production company 7 years ago. So I guess that's when it started, is when I started my own company in 2017, MobCity Productions.
Okay.
That's when it started, because I said, I don't want to go out and constantly audition, and nothing is happening. It always came down to me and that one girl, that brunette next door. And for a very long time in Toronto, I was always going up against Nina Dobrev, because we were both the brunettes next door on Norbert Abrams' roster. And at the end of the day, she's so cute. She's got the cute voice. She's so pretty, she's super talented. And I had this like squeaky voice going on. I was still like maturing. And so, and I just, it always came down to us two. And I just said, oh, it was so tiring. So I was like, I got to do more. I want to write. I want to create my own projects, and then I'll put myself in my own projects. Like, enough of this auditioning for other people's projects. So I started my production company. I started writing because I had so much to say. Nobody was listening. So I was like,
I love it. I love it. But you figured out a way, right? You said, instead of me sitting around and waiting for something, I'm going to go get mine. And I love that. I'm always telling people, go get yours, go figure out what you got to do. And then you go get it. You go do it. You figure it out.
Definitely don't sit and wait.
Yeah. If there's a will, there's always a way. There's always a way to figure it out.
That's right.
And so, I'm curious. I mean, how has, in that last 10 years, how have you seen the industry evolve or change? I mean, do you feel like there's been big changes, or do you feel like things are just the same after 10 years?
Big changes. Yeah, a lot more women are speaking up. A lot, just oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. The massive changes, massive. It was a male dominated industry, and it was kind of still is. We're still getting there. That whole equal pay is still in effect. It's still a factor a little bit. Yeah, there's just so much to say. I don't even know where to start. we could talk about that. That could be its own podcast.
Well, no, let's talk about women, right? They want to get paid the same as a man. So this is the decade of the woman. I mean,
we're all human.
Of course, we're all human. Right? Now, but let's be honest. I mean, now in an acting job, I guess. Well, let's use soccer as an example, as maybe a little bit of an example. So women's soccer players, they get paid less than men's soccer players. Okay. So who brings more people to the stadium, men or women?
It's a great question. I want to say women, but
No, you're absolutely wrong. It's like 10 times men, like the men World Cup brings in, I mean, just on an exorbitant more, amount of money more. But
it
no,
makes
not
sense.
not to say
It's
not
more of a
so
masculine sport.
so yeah, maybe that's probably it too. And that's why I'm not totally, equating it with the movie business but what I'm saying is that if Wonder Woman, right? If you got Superman movie all by itself and you got Wonder Woman movie all by itself, which movie makes more money, right? If the Superman movie makes more money, then the man should be paid more. I mean, then the man that's playing that role should be paid more. The woman, if the Wonder Woman movie, if she's playing that role and it doesn't make as much money, well, then she shouldn't be paid just equal a man just because she's a woman.
But you're
What do you
not
think about
getting
that?
paid depending on what the movie's going to make, because you never know what the movie's going to make.
This is
So you're
true.
getting
This is
paid to
true.
do the work. And
This is true.
And if your job as an actor, whether you're small, big, fat, short, Puerto Rican, Haitian, whatever you are, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you are. At the end of the day, you're a human that goes to an audition, that reads the lines, that books the part. And if you got the lead and that person's getting this much for a Spider-Man movie and she's getting this much for a Wonder Woman movie, and they're both the same movie pretty much, they're that's Marvel's right, yeah, DC Comics, yeah,
DC and Marvel,
yeah, I'm in the crime drama, so I'm like,
yeah. Okay. I love it. With your baseball hat, you almost look like a private investigator. I feel like I'm interviewing a private investigator. You got because like just the ambiance in your background of your studio there, it's like, of your room. It's like, yeah, it's great. I love it. I
love my crime dramas. That's definitely my niche.
And I love The Godfather. So anyways, go ahead. Continue what you were saying.
So it's like that I think we should get to a point as a society today, not tomorrow, not today, right now, and realize, like, if you're going out to audition for a lead, this is what you should receive, whether you're a male or a woman. Like in the movie business, it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female lead. That's not what differentiates who wheels in box office. It matters the movie and the content. That's what matters. That's what wheels it in. And of course, foreign presence and all of that.
Well, but then let's look at it, right? If it's Leonardo DiCaprio, right? That everybody's going to go see that movie, right? So he deserves. So if he's got another lead in the movie and it's a woman that's kind of, she's known, but maybe not as known, maybe hasn't been in the industry as long.
Oh, then
maybe
of course it shouldn't be. You got to be an A-lister if you're an A-lister.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A-listers should get the same.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, so I think we're kind of on the same page with this. I just don't think that what I think is a challenge when coming from a business that is I've always worked in the commission business. Like I said, I own a financial services company. I hustled a lot of years to build the company and to create what we've been able to create.
Good things.
But it took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of risk. It took a lot of, again, rejection. So you're talking rejection. I know rejection better than anybody. I had a lot of rejection, but at the end of the day, if it's me and there's a woman next to me and she's working just as hard as I'm working, if she makes more money to me because she hustles. She's after it. She's writing more sales. She's closing more deals. Right. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm with you. If she's doing the work and she's bringing in those box office numbers to allow her to get paid the higher dollar, then God bless her. She should be absolutely 100%.
That's exactly the point. That's the problem, is that even though they do bring in that box, let's say it's a Scarlett Johansson, right? I mean, she's got amazing.
Badass.
Yeah, she's or like even Meryl Streep. I mean, well, actually, let's take Meryl Streep out of it because she's just the best of the best. So she's the 0.00001%. So maybe
Right.
not her, maybe she's not the right example, but who else is a woman A-lister?
Well, like that Wonder Woman. I forget her name, but the Wonder Woman woman.
Gal
So,
Gadot.
yeah,
That's
there you
right.
go.
Gal Gadot. She came out of nowhere and just took over.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, by, they say it's a success overnight, but people have been working behind closed doors for decades before that. But yeah, like that's somebody that should be getting the same as, look, A-listers should be getting the same amount if X, Y, and Z are in place. If you got all the components to make a potential amazing film, you got, and again, but the industry is so unpredictable. That's so hard to say as well, because you don't know. You could have an A-list writer, A-list director, A-list producer, A-list talent. You could have an amazing script written by, Martin Scorsese. Then he goes and makes The Irishman, and then it flops in box office. And it was made for how much? It was something outrageous. It was what, almost 200 million, something like that. Apple paid in the beginning. And then it wheeled in the first opening weekend, like $8 million. Flop. How does that happen, right? I mean, it's a gangster movie. They brought all the fellas back. You expect it to be like the next big thing. Everybody's anticipating this movie. And it didn't come in as strong as you think. Like, so the industry is unpredictable, and timing is everything, and what's going on in the world will affect it. So again, it's hard to say, but at the end of the day, again, if you're an A-lister and you're putting in the work you already have this established, whatever you're doing, if you makes me so upset. You should be, people should not be viewed as a color of their skin. People should not be viewed as all these names. We have these new names now. You're binary, you're this, you're that. Everybody needs all these labels. What's with all these? Everybody needs a label, and then these labels. This is the problem. It's like, let's get rid of all these labels: woman, male, he, she, all these labels. Let's get rid of them. And 100%. If you go to that audition and you nail the lead, and Martin Scorsese is directing the picture, and this is how much Leo would get paid, then Gail should get paid the same amount, period.
I agree, 100%. I especially agree with the whole labels and skin color and all the crap that, like, it shouldn't. I mean, it's 2023.
Oh my God,
Klaudia, give me a break. It's like, it's insane that we're still talking about. I mean, when did Martin Luther King say, right? We're going to one day have a colorless society and everybody's going to be, we have that right now, but everybody keeps talking. We have an opportunity for it right now. We have an opportunity, but everybody's got to just say together, everybody together, stop it. I don't care what color you are. I don't care whether you're a man or a woman, but I do care about results. I do care about work ethic. I do care about, but other than that, I mean, character, that should be the defining factor. I got exactly. That's it. That's all it is. You're 100% right. Love it. Okay.
Bless.
Let's talk about what do you think Hollywood should be doing? Curious. Yeah. There's a lot of political stuff in the world, and like, should Hollywood, because they're getting really political, so a lot of these movies, and by the way, this is why Marvel is, in my opinion, this is why Marvel is having a challenge with some of their latest movies, is because they're getting way too political, so they almost want to, again, they want to shove the labels, they want to shove their ideologies, they want to shove, all this stuff down our throats instead of just telling us a great story, right?
I mean, heart, like Stan Lee did.
Yeah, exactly. Like Stan Lee did. And they're changing it now. They are changing it now.
He's not here. And that's why no, there's never going to be another Stan Lee.
I know, but all these people that were around Stan Lee that grew up with him, and that mentored underneath him, that are now taking over, they got to just stop with the BS, like try to, whatever. Like, seriously, enough is enough. I mean, should Hollywood get involved in all these politics and all this stuff, or should we just tell a
I
good
mean,
story?
life is politics, right? Everything is politics at the end of the day. If you really think about it, it's a part of, it's ingrained in our life. We can pretend it's not there and try and avoid it at all costs, but it's always a part of our journey. And I think the solution is more just remembering what Hollywood stood for, which was storytelling and passion and recreating these stories that inspire people, that motivate people, that stimulate people intellectually, that bring people together. Like, that's the whole part of making a movie. You want to bring in people and you want them to feel something. Like, that's what I think we're all like, we're getting distracted by all these contracts, by all these things, and we're starting to make, like, there's so much, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of garbage out on TV and a lot of garbage in movies. I'm just, every time I see something, I'm like, I don't even want to watch any of this. That's why I started a company, and I was like, I'm going to make what I want to watch, which is a bunch of gangster crime drama thrillers that are based on true stories. And we're going to make some gangster stuff happen, because I want to see some, like, I need more principles. I need more values. I need more morals. I need more ethics. I need more depth. I need, it's just, everything is just fluff. Like, let me just write something, and it's just, there isn't
So
enough
what's
depth in what we're making today. And you're absolutely right. Politics are the reason why this is just, it's affecting the creative mind.
so a couple of your favorite movies, and maybe even something that you've worked on that you could tell us about?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say any I worked on are my favorite.
Well, they're
But I
kind of
do
your
have
favorite.
some that are coming that,
Okay. It's going to be your favorite. It's going to be your favorite.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
good.
But I want to talk about other people's movies, because there's so many out there that are so incredible. I mean, so many. Goodfellas, Mean Streets, obviously The Godfather, American Gangster was amazing. Anything that's based on a true story, I'm in love with. 12 Years a Slave was an amazing movie. That was incredible. That stood with me for a long time. Everything about it, cinematography, it was just beautiful. But that's not even a crime drama. But anything that's in the crime drama, there's just so many. On the Waterfront, the old school movies with Marlon Brando, amazing. Yeah, anything that is good storytelling. That's what I look for. I love good
Did you
story.
like
Donnie Darko.
Did you like Narcos? Did you ever watch Narcos on
Yeah, I
Netflix?
watched it. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, of course. It's a great
Yeah.
series.
Because it was one of the first. I mean, I
Mhm.
never watched series before Narcos. I never was really like a
Wow.
series guy. Like, I love movies. I'm totally into movies, but
Yeah,
series I just never got into, and
I hear you.
I just want to watch a
Same.
movie and then be done with it and it's over, But Narcos, I just was obsessed with it,
Yeah.
and I watched every single, like, I think I knocked all 10 in like a weekend or
It was a
something like that. It
binger.
was
Definite
ridiculous.
binger.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
and then I started, I mean, I don't know. Do you ever watch those series? What I really enjoy is Greed. Do you ever watch Greed, like the TV series at all?
Never watched it,
Have you
actually.
watched? Oh my God. Like, you
I
got to watch it,
Yeah.
because I think it's just an idea, but I think you should try to turn some of those documentaries into movies. Like, they could be really cool movies, because I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I've always liked heist movies too.
Me
I do
too.
like,
Yeah.
I love
Anything
all
with
that kind of stuff.
action, pew
I
pew,
love
just, fight for the right cause.
stealing shit from big institutions. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I'm just messed up in my
Right.
head or
Like, you
something
always
like
want to
that.
cheer for that underdog that, like, goes
Exactly.
after what he's, like, passionate about, and just, like, fighting for, like, the
Right.
right cause, hopefully. Right. But he's
Right.
a badass in the process. And,
Right.
maybe he shoots some people in the way because they're in the
I love it.
I'm being dramatic and ridiculous.
No.
But no,
It's great.
you just, it's entertaining. You wanna see what's gonna happen next. That's why I've always been in love with crime dramas. And I published a book on crime dramas because I'm completely obsessed with the niche. And I just I realized that that is my obsession. There's literally, one day I put a list of movies together, going through my DVD collection. And at the time, I had someone visiting me, and so I wanted to, like, I'm kind of OCD sometimes. I had my DVD collection in like my like a big what is it, like a DVD box. And so I'm flipping through them and I'm looking at them. And so all of a sudden I'm like writing a list, right? Because I want to inventory all my movies. Because I don't want anything to go missing. So I'm like inventorying all of them. And then I put this list together and I'm like, I'm like 300 movies in, and they're all crime. They're all crime dramas.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I think
Oh
I
my
like
God.
this.
You're gonna have to send me the list. I want to
Yeah, I
like
mean, I
an
have my book
actual
right
list.
here.
Yeah.
I have my book right here.
I
So
mean, this is
the
cool.
book, gangster book.
Wow.
And then these
Look
are
at
all the
that.
gangster movies, the gangster crime dramas, the
I
list
love
goes
that.
on.
So you need to send me the link of where we can buy that.
Yes,
So
on my
that way,
website. I will
yeah,
send
that way,
it.
yeah, that way we will add that on to the podcast. This is great. This is awesome. And so, okay, so we got the most famous movies for you, and we know what kind of movies you like. And so, last question, just as we kind of start wrapping it up. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people, because the people that are watching this today, these are young entrepreneurs. These are, you know, people that are just trying to get their businesses going.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this for 7 years now, and you know, it hasn't been easy, I'm sure. But is there
No,
any
yeah, no,
advice?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there any advice that you can give that person out there right now that maybe is struggling a little bit? They're just, they're fighting so hard. They're trying so hard. Just
Yeah.
things are not happening for them,
Yeah.
but they maybe need a little bit of inspiration from somebody that's successful to say, all right, man, this is what I think you need to think about and what you should do.
Yes. So first of all, you have to find what your passion is, right? Once you know what you love to do, when you don't, even if you make no money ever again, what is that one thing that you absolutely always gravitate towards? That's the thing you should 100% focus on for your life, because that's what's going to bring you joy. It's going to bring you fulfillment. It's going to, even when you're working, you won't feel like you're working. And my biggest advice, and the best advice I ever got from a spiritual guide, actually, which is something I don't usually, I'm always like, I'm more curious to hear what people have to say, but I'm not the first one to go running and be like, tell me everything. So I kind of opened the door and I was like, okay, well, let me hear what you got to say. Like, clearly you have something to say. And it was the best advice I ever got. He just said, you're going to have a lot of things you're going to go through in this life, and it's not going to be easy. But the cheesiest thing in the world, never give up, right? It's so cheesy. But literally, when you're about to give up everything and you feel like nothing is working and you have no more energy and you don't have a support system and you don't have the money and you're lost and you're battling, whether it's mental health or depression or whatever it is that you're going through, just literally don't give up. Just take that next step. Like whatever it is, just take that next step, number one. And number two, this is the best advice I ever got, which is finish what you started. And that's something that it always replays in the back of my head, because I'm such a perfectionist, and I'm always like, oh, I can make this better. I can make this better. I can make this better. Oh my God, 2 years went by. What are you waiting for? So just finish what you started. Stop being so OCD about the details, because everyone's going to have an opinion whether it's done and perfect or not. So just get it out there. Finish what you started, get it out there. Take that next step. Do not give up. You're not the only one going through a difficult time. You're not the only one that has a difficult life, that doesn't have connections, that doesn't have the money, that doesn't have the support system. You and everybody else. Okay. I mean, maybe there's a small group that comes from, trust fund kids, and they got their own problems too. So just do not give up and finish what you started. That's best advice.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, well, look, this is why I always say do it now. That's why I have a do it now attitude about life, because I think that a lot of us, we sit around and I look at the last 25 years of even what I've been able to put together. And a lot of it was just taking chances over and over and over again and just trying. I always tell people, just try. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
You'll fail. What do you do?
Exactly. And you just start over. And I'm not even kidding. When I first went into business, 21 years old, I literally said to myself, number one, I'm going to pretend that I just invested $100,000 into this. So I want to get my money back. Right. So I'm going to work it, right. Like it's a real, like I just put a lot into it. I'm going to work it like that. But I always told myself that worst case scenario, I go bankrupt. Right. And if I go bankrupt, thank God in America today, they don't put you in jail. There's no bankruptcy jail anymore. So they don't put you in jail. They just let you start over. I mean, what an amazing country we live in. I've been all over the world, and this country is the most, even though we have flaws and it's messed up in some areas and got some stuff we got to work on, it is still the most amazing country in the world with the most amazing amount of opportunity that we all have to succeed and to win and to do great things. I mean, I feel like the future is so bright for America, for, just anybody that wants to be in business for themselves. It's scary as heck, but man, it's so worth it. I mean, it's hard and it's not easy, but it's so worth it when you can wake up and say, I did that. I created that. Oh, I finished that job. I did that. I posted that video. I made that movie. I, wrote that sale.
And I felt so uncomfortable doing it, but I still said, screw it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think people are really, they're so scared to fail because they feel like then they're a failure. But I think what people need to realize is only through failure does that build character. Only through the hard times in life that you go through do you really become the best version of yourself, because now you have that experience that you went through, and now you're taking that experience with you, and you get to take that next step forward with that experience. So now that next step that you're going to take, that might be the home run. And that's what people need to realize. Like, don't be afraid to fail. It's okay. We all do. We just don't all talk about it.
And the crazy thing about it too, Klaudia, is that we don't even have to hit a home run. You just have to have a lot of base hits, man, because the base hits score, eventually those things score runs, and if you can make money doing what you love to do, if you can make money, at least enough to eat and put a roof over your head. Right. I mean,
you're more successful than 80, what is it? 3% of the world. If you have a roof over your head and you're able to feed yourself, you're part of the 17% in the world. That's crazy.
And then if you're an entrepreneur, you get to actually have some freedom in your life to choose what you want to do and how you want to do it, and to go create and to build something that one day maybe you can leave a legacy. And if you make good choices when it comes to money, because I'm a money guy, and I mean, if you make good choices when it comes to money and you invest properly and you acquire, some assets, those assets can take care of you forever. I mean, that's what happened to me. And, so you're able to build something that's worth something that, who knows, maybe even, you pass it on to your kids later on, or your family or whoever, foundation or whatever, and really in the end, make a difference for other people as well, not just yourself, but to really make a difference and an impact for other people. So really cool stuff, man. Thank you so much, Klaudia, for your time today. How do we get a hold of you? Tell us, give us the links. Tell us where to, reach you.
Yes. Okay. Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Klaudia Kaye. That's double K. So KLAUDIAKAYE.
Okay.
In case you don't know how to spell it. And you can follow my company page as well. It's at MobCity Productions. on Instagram. I have a website. What else? That's usually, that's where I post. That's where I am. That's
So do you have like a mobster school we can go to? Because, you know, you're into the mob crime, you know, scene. So like you need like a mob, how to go and become a mobster school one of these days. So maybe that'll be your next venture.
Well, you know what? It's really funny. I am actually working on a nonprofit that is all about that world, but also like the gangster stuff, but also crime entertainment. And that's all I'll say right now, because it's going to be more in 2024. Maybe we'll one day we'll do another session on that, but it's going to be a whole world, and it's going to be one place where you tune into. You know what, I'm going to say the name. It's Godfather Academy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We got it, man. We're doing another show in 2024, and we're going to talk all about the Godfather Academy. Klaudia Kaye, thank you so much. For all of you guys that are watching, do me a favor, as always, make sure that you connect with Klaudia, follow her, go check out her website, send her a message, say, oh my God, you were amazing on Wealth on the Beach podcast with Daniel Alonzo. It's unbelievable. I loved it. It's incredible. Thank you so much for the value. So you got to send her, you guys need to send her a message and tell her thank you so much for coming on. And as always, make sure that you continue to dream bigger than ever, get after it, but most importantly, do it now. God bless you. We'll see you at the top.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.